Dr. Jonathan Reed was not born to be ordinary. From a quiet town nestled in the Yorkshire Dales of England, he grew up surrounded by the mists of morning dew and the silence of starlit skies. Unlike other children, Jonathan did not spend his youth chasing kites or trading marbles. Instead, he was drawn to the ticking of clocks, the hum of electric fences and the shimmer of dew on copper wires. By the age of 10, Jonathan had already dismantled and rebuilt every electronic appliance in his parents' cottage. His father, a retired physics teacher, noticed his son's growing obsession with energy patterns and anomalies in nature. One night, under a candlelit roof, he gifted Jonathan an old copy of Michael Faraday's journals. That book would change everything years later. Jonathan graduated from Cambridge with a doctorate in quantum thermodynamics. At 29, he was already a guest lecturer in multiple universities across Europe. But academia was not where his heart lay. He wanted to experiment, to push the boundaries of known physics, to enter the chaos where the known met the unknowable. In 2017, Jonathan founded the Reed Institute for Experimental Physics, RIP, in a disused Cold War bunker outside Manchester. The facility was a fortress of secrecy with reinforced walls and underground labs. Jonathan's vision was singular: to explore the idea of quantum equilibrium theory, a fringe hypothesis that proposed a hidden symmetry between entropy and quantum coherence. Most scientists dismissed it as theoretical fluff, but Jonathan believed otherwise. He worked day and night with a team of 5 young physicists he handpicked from around the world. They called themselves the Silent Circle, and for 5 years, they operated without sharing any findings with the outside world. But they were not idle. Using a custom-built reactor chamber known as the Equinox core, Jonathan led experiments on time-stable particles, trying to understand the balance point between chaos and order. In 2022, something unexpected happened. One night, during an experimental run involving cryogenic magnetic flux fields, the Equinox core emitted a pulse of energy that blacked out half the facility. When power was restored, data logs showed a 0.0003 second period where localized time inside the core chamber had slowed down. The cameras showed a droplet of liquid nitrogen mid-fall, suspended almost still in the air. The scientific community would later call it the Manchester blink. Jonathan refused to go public. He was cautious, methodical, and skeptical of sensationalism. Over the next 6 months, he repeated the experiment 31 times. The results were consistent. During a critical flux of quantum coherence, time inside the chamber would distort, but only briefly, and only under extremely precise conditions. Rumors began to leak, as they always do. Journalists hounded the gates of RIP. Governments expressed quiet interest. Private tech billionaires sent offers, some generous, others threatening. Jonathan turned them all away. His goal was never wealth or fame. It was understanding. But understanding came at a cost. In late 2023, a miscalculation in the cryomagnetic regulators caused a minor explosion in Lab 4. One of the young physicists, Dr. Arya Mukherjee, sustained critical injuries. Though she survived, the incident fractured the trust among the team. 2 members resigned, citing ethical concerns. Funding began to dry up. University partnerships were suspended. Jonathan fell into a spiral of isolation and guilt. He spent long hours alone in the central observation dome, replaying the accident footage again and again. It was during this time he began writing a personal logbook, pages filled not just with formulas, but with reflections on the nature of time, morality, and human ambition. In early 2024, as the institute neared shutdown, Jonathan made one final attempt, with only 2 staff members remaining. He recalibrated the Equinox core for its most ambitious test, a sustained 10-second time suspension inside a vacuum-sealed sphere. The risks were high. The power needed would surpass anything previously attempted. The regulators were still unstable. But Jonathan was determined. On March 3, 2024, at 2:14 a.m., the core was activated. A low-frequency hum filled the bunker. When systems rebooted 15 minutes later, the core had shut down automatically. The data? Corrupted. Irretrievable. But the room was intact. The team unharmed. And on the wall of the core chamber, written in frost, were the words, "Symmetry Achieved." No one could explain it. The internal temperature logs showed no humidity. And no one had entered the chamber. Yet the message was there. Jonathan took this as the sign he needed. Not proof, but direction. Within weeks, he disbanded RAP and sealed the bunker, turning over the property to the British Scientific Trust. He refused all interviews, withdrew from conferences and quietly moved to Iceland, where he now lives near a volcanic lake in Mævin, but that was not the end. In 2025. Excerpts from his personal logbook began appearing online under the pseudonym Equinox Manuscripts. They spoke of unseen layers of time, of the moral obligations of discovery, of the cost of touching the unknown. Physicists and philosophers debated the manuscripts with fervor. Dr. Jonathan Reed became a myth, half scientist, half oracle. Today, no one knows exactly what the Equinox core truly achieved. Some say it bent time. Others believe it opened a doorway to a parallel dimension. But those closest to Jonathan know the truth. He was never searching for power or recognition. He was searching for balance. The balance between knowledge and humility, between ambition and caution, between what is and what could be.